Back again with another fresh cut. You're now tuned into the underground. My name is Mbaya. I go by the doctor. If you are not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I got you covered on all kinds of things when it comes to hair grooming. If you are not following me on all my different platforms, you need to do that right now. Get me on TikTok, get me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Threads. You name it, I got you. Nothing but free game all day. I post content daily. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this haircut. If you read the title, I am doing a low drop fade on my guy. He has waves up top, well, more like ocean waves. These are tsunami waves. I believe these count for waves, but anyway, look, check this out. I spray water on top just to get some little bit of a control on his hair. He does have a colic up front. That's why I combed it back, just so y'all can see what's going on underneath that fringe. So, just so we're clear and on the same page, I'm doing a number 3 up top. Clipper lever open. I'm going to keep it open all the way through the front. And when I get towards the back, I'm going to start closing the clipper lever. This is because I like to keep the fringe, as in the overhang, in the front of the hairline, so that way I'm able to manipulate the lineup and make it look as if it's been enhanced. If you've watched most of my videos, this is a technique that I use usually on most of my clients, especially when it comes to the lineup. So that's done. I got the whole top pretty much evened out. I'm going to go ahead and slap my number 2 guard on with the clipper lever open on the second click. Not all the way fully open, but on the second click, I'm going to go ahead and create my first guideline. This first guideline should of course be no higher than the ridge, curving downward right above the nape on the occipital bone area. And you're going to go ahead and jump over to the number 1 guard, staying consistent by keeping the lever open at that same second click, making sure that the guideline is of course dropping along the side, going all the way down to the nape below the occipital bone. Next, I will follow up by losing the guard completely and using only the blade, with the clipper lever open, of course, in the second click, setting up for my next transition, which will be my bald guideline. And as soon as I set in the bald guideline, everything should be prepped and ready to go for blending. Now that I have all my guidelines set in, I'm going to go ahead with my PRODIGY shaver and get everything all the way completely zeroed out bald. With that being said, right after this, I'm going to use my PRODIGY clipper, which if you did miss the last video where I did do this modification and put on a alpha lid as well as a vapor blade for the lower bottom blade, and I just kept the shallow tooth blade for the top blade, the cutter blade, which came equipped with the clipper already out of the box. after going in with the detail work with no guard, using the blade only, I'm going to use my 0.5 and start to buff out that bottom line, keeping the clipper lever open in the middle, slowly smoothing out, softening up that line. Then I will follow up by closing the clipper lever all the way and just erasing that line completely. Then I'll start to open the lever slowly and work my way up into the fade. And when I see that the blend is starting to get achieved, I will of course open it up just a little bit more and keep that same process, that same consistent process of opening and closing. If you feel like you have a little bit of more weight going on, close it. If you feel like you have less weight or you want to cut less, you open it. And I'll move on next to my number 1 guard and start to repeat the same steps, starting with the clipper lever in the middle. And I will go ahead and close it completely, erasing the line slowly. Take your time, do not rush. Be the judge of what you are seeing in front of you. The steps that I am showing you may not work exactly the same for each individual that you are working on due to abnormalities. Everybody has a different hair texture, a different head shape. They have different dips in certain areas. You may need to stretch the skin. Stretching the skin is something that I haven't really talked about in my videos. I do stretch the skin just a little bit when necessary. I'm not really big on stretching, only when necessary. You don't want to ever force stretching the skin or scalp. This can lead one way or the other, as in a negative or positive. Anyway, we're moving on from the 1 guard to the 1.5, keeping the clipper lever open in the middle and repeating those same steps. You be the judge, okay? Don't take my word for it. Do not take my steps literally for how I'm showing you. You have to improvise accordingly to each individual, especially for the simple fact that this is a drop fade. You're going to have to get creative because everything that you plan for is probably not going to go according. All right. So now that I am completely using the 1.5 guard, I'm going to move on to the 2 guard with the clipper lever open on the second click, keeping it real consistent all the way up into the ridge. I'm going to start buffing that out slowly, taking my time, making sure that I don't go up too high, which may cause a lot more work for me due to the fact that this part of the haircut is a very vital stage. This is the part that you don't really want to make any mistakes on because you're going into the hair. This is very, very sensitive territory. So you got to slap on every guard that is bigger than everything you've used before below in the fade. So now that I moved on from my number 2 guard, I've slapped on my 3, keeping that same consistent process of opening and closing, just buffing out that line, making sure that it's all the way out. You don't want any weight lines left behind. If you have to slap on a higher guard than the 3, which the level on top is a number 3 with the grain, you can go ahead and still slap on a 4 guard with the clipper lever open all the way to close, as long as it's making sense with what you are seeing in front of you. And make sure that you're using the corners of your blade. That will be very promising when it comes to the detail work that you are applying to your fade. Is all done, I am going to move on and start working on the front line. If there's anything that you see that is left over in the fade, you always can come back. Make sure you take care of that. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and move on and start to remove a little bit of that weight from that fringe that I left in the front. You want to always make sure that if you're going to leave some overhang in order to manipulate the lineup the way I usually do, you want to make sure it's presentable. You don't want somebody to just walk out looking a little off, you know? Make sure it's presentable, so that way when you lay down the lineup, everything looks perfectly symmetrical, an even distribution all the way through from the left to the right. You want to make sure that nothing's pointed out. You want to make sure that the camera does not catch anything off. One thing that I tell a lot of people is the camera shows all. The camera is nothing compared to the mirror, especially the naked eye. I know a lot of old school barbers always claim that the mirror never lies, but no, the camera never lies. Trust me. Reasons like this is why I use water a lot. Not holding spray. We're not using enhancements or nothing like that out here. I have nothing against any of those products, but you know, to each their own. Whatever works for you, do what you do. I use water because the water shows everything about the hair I was going to react when the client possibly washes it later on, when they shampoo it rather. You don't wash hair, by the way. You shampoo hair. You wash your dog, just to be clear. But anyway, I'm just spraying water back on top of the head, just putting a little bit of moisture up top so I can control the hair a little bit better. And I'm going to grab a comb, apply a little bit of heat to the hair with my attachment on the blow dryer, of course, making sure that I comb out all the hair, making sure it's completely straight, laid, making sure that when the lineup is being set in, all the single little strands of hair, all those little pieces are caught by the trimmer blade. You don't want to leave anything behind. Now I'm just applying a little bit of brush work before I start to execute the lineup. And like I said, if you see anything left over in the fade, you can always come back before you let the client leave and do some detail work. As always, start in the middle. I'm going to use my Rose Gold FX trimmer and evenly distribute a straightaway lineup from the middle, working my way out into the corner of that vertical bar. And before I start working on the vertical bar, I'm going to move on to the other side. Make sure everything is symmetrical. You don't want anything uneven. Make sure that you're keeping everything parallel to the other side. Everything should match. You don't want an off haircut. If anything ends up being off, don't try to fight it too much. Sometimes it ends up being just the individual themselves. They have a abnormal head shape or something like that, especially with the front lineup. People have dips in the corners that you don't really visibly see. You have to kind of focus up on that and see the curvature of the head shape. Other than that, I know people in the comment sections will fuss, complain, you're doing it all wrong. Yeah, look, there's many different ways to do this and execute this work. So whatever works for you, keep doing what you do. Now, everything's completed in the front of the hairline, and I'm going to start using my absolute hitter from Gamma, which is equipped with a ES4 blade. I'm going to work on that vertical bar and slowly take my time. I'm not rushing about this. I'm going to touch the C cup slightly and go back to the vertical bar. I'm going to do a lot of brushing and possibly combing too, making sure that I pull out as much hair as possible so that the clipper or the trimmer blades in this case can clip it away. If you don't find the clipper blade doing a good job, you could always bring out the shears, but in this case, I'm a trimmer person, I'm a trimmer guy. I'm going to use my trimmers for everything when it comes to the lineup. When it comes to the line, you can't tell me much about the lineup. I don't care what you say, I have mastered this. I'm not the best. I want you all to be the best. This is why I do these videos. This is why I put these videos out. I want you to do better than me. I want you to not go through the hardships that I went through to get to where I am at. And at this point, I've come to realize I'm still a student. I've always known this, of course. I'm a student of this craft. So when people dog me out, they say all kinds of slander in the comment sections without any constructive criticism, which never makes any sense to me, is absolutely mind-blowing. It bothers me just a little bit to see people come on here and say the most hateful, disrespectful things instead of just being kind and give constructive criticism. It makes no sense. Why would you put that much energy into downing the next person? It doesn't make any sense. Leave a comment, but if you have something that will help me get better, say it. If you don't have anything to say that has any kind of depth as far as helping me be better, keep it to yourself. I know we all have opinions, but all that negativity is not necessary. That's too much energy to be spending on downing the next person. Anyway, this haircut is pretty much complete, y'all. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment. Share this video to anybody that may find this informative. Follow me on all my different platforms. I post content daily. Everything from barber grooming tips to even posture. When you're working on a busy work day, I post all kinds of posture videos, exercises that will help you with posture, exercises that will help strengthen certain muscle groups in your back, in your legs, your arms, wrists, stretches, you name it, I got you covered. This is what I do. I've been doing this for a very long time. I don't keep secrets. I share the secrets. Unlike some people that just do nothing but hate all day. All I know is that I use that as fuel. It's motivation. I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate the feedback regardless to it being negative. But anyway, catch me on the next one, y'all. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like I say, leave a comment, share this video, follow me, subscribe to this channel.